We are back. I'm in a different setting this time, pulling an Adam to where, but not as nice though. With the nice as a scenery as you do.
Well, tell us how you got there. What are you up to, man?
Yeah, dog sitting this time, man. Dog sitting and house sitting. It's almost like I'm in college again, as we were talking right before this. You know how many times I house sat in college just so I didn't have to be at my fraternity house.
So awesome, dude. I was telling Jake before we got on the call, I'm like, this is like my first job. I mean, I've had literally, I think I counted one time, it was like 48 jobs in my life. And but like the first job was taking care of pets, like for neighbors and stuff. And how I like my first stress dreams, I was probably like 9 years old. My very first stress dream, I wake up in like a cold sweat. And it's like I'd been dreaming that I'd forgot to feed the dogs for like 3 or 4 days. It's a lot of responsibility, bro. Take it seriously.
Oh boy, man. Everyone who's on the spaces, make sure you retweet what I'm about to pin so we can get some more people in here, man. We've taken a hit in the audience ever since Leo stopped coming.
Leo brings the bodies, man. Brings the bodies, bro.
He does. Yeah, super funny. But
I don't know if you saw, it's funny with this, I think you probably saw the creators were getting paid out of Twitter, yesterday, I think it was, right? And some people got some like real checks, and like people who are like, I don't even think they're like relatively big, like crypto people, with 100,000, followers were making, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. I was like, wow, that's incredible. And then I saw this tweet from Mr. Beast. I don't know if you saw that tweet from Mr. Beast, where it was like anybody who the highest liked reply in the comments gets all of my next month revenue off of Twitter.
Oh my God.
It had like 40 million, views, a million comments, or 10 million, some crazy thing. I retweeted it. I was like, bro, is this what Twitter's going to be? It's just like this retweeting machine. Is this all it's going to be, is like engagement farming? I hope not. But you can see how that can go down this like rabbit hole of like immediately the only thing people are interested in is just divisive, crazy comments, because that's going to get the most comments, which is going to get the most, ad views, which is going to get the most revenue. It could turn really bad quick. So we'll see how Elon handles it. I was looking around trying to find any specific numbers. I saw a thread that the number was around $8 million that was being distributed between all of the accounts. And I think the numbers are, you have to have 5 million engagement for 3 months in a row to get the ad share revenue. To me, right, crypto is the largest, at least from what I've seen from the stats, crypto is the largest community on Twitter. And crypto will find ways to game the system. So I'm really interested to see how this goes. I mean, it's so easy to just say, hey, I'm Frank, I'm going to make sure that everyone boosts my engagement so that we get the ad share revenue, and then we're just going to sweep the floor with you gods with that money, or something like that. Like, bro, you're now see my idea generating machine just immediately clicks in. It's like, okay, we're going to create a DAO, and that DAO, we're going to have one like, Twitter personality at the head of that DAO. And then there's going to be, 10,000 of us in this DAO. And all we're going to do is engagement farm these tweets and that money. Oh man.
It's
sweet, man.
It's definitely going to be rife with manipulation for sure. But I mean, hey, if that's what puts, if this is what leverages crypto to just take over Twitter entirely, then hey, so be it. But I think it's definitely a shot against Threads for sure. It seems like Threads are dead. I went over there and I was tweeting non-crypto things, and my followers have definitely stopped coming in. It was shooting up like crazy, but it feels like a lot of people just downloaded it and now they just left.
Yeah, I stayed on for 5 minutes. I was like, I don't want to. I don't actually want to be there. Like, I did Instagram for years for businesses and stuff. And I like Fakeagram. I'm just not into it, man. I am not into like that fake life social media anymore. And I understand that some people are, but yeah, I just don't want to do it because I just don't want to be a part of it, but and plus all this, I mean, you saw the censorship happening immediately. Not a fan of that, even though obviously we have still censorship here on Twitter. It's less robust. not a big fan. And it's amazing how people have just completely forgotten Zuckerberg. Completely forgotten what he's up to. But, hey, to each his own.
Yeah, 5 million engagement. That is not an easy feat. I think my account gets around like 1 million a month, and that's not really even trying. That's kind of just tweeting. So there is now an actual bar for people who want to be Twitter influencers to get paid. I don't know what that actual amount would be. I think it would be cool if there was like an open source ad share revenue pot that showed you like how much money was in this pot. I think that would also probably encourage a lot. I don't think Twitter's going anywhere. I even said that I thought Threads wasn't really competition to begin with. The Instagram influencer crowd, I don't think wants to tweet. I don't think they're good at text, right? They just want to basically show off their butts.
Yep.
And sell you Brazilian butt lifts and makeup products. I think is kind of where that is going.
Yeah, and I don't think I think the best analysis I heard was that this is simply a way to basically they're going to take this and move it into Instagram and Facebook or whatever as kind of like the text-based arm of those platforms. That made some sense to me. That's the way forward. It's not necessarily as a standalone, but who knows? Like Zuck, if it wins and it is a standalone, perfect. But seems more likely that this is more about creating a better text-based platform for those other platforms.
Yeah, I agree as well. So I guess the first thing we should start off with is crypto is not a security, right? I'm gonna pull up
as of now. Yeah.
As of now, I mean, there's definitely some there's definitely some components to this, which I think people are also kind of dismissing. So I pulled up here Adam Cochran's tweet where he kind of just like always dives into different specifics of it. So it's mostly good for alts, he says. Big surprisingly win for XRP. Although from my understanding, man, everyone said XRP was going to win. At least that was kind of what was inferred over the last 6 to 8 months of tweets that I'd said. The big thing here says, therefore, having considered the economic reality and totality of circumstances surrounding the institutional sales, the court concludes that Ripple's institutional sales of XRP constituted the unregistered offer and sale of investment contracts in violation of Section 5 of the Securities Act. So basically here it's saying that anything that's OTC, at least from my understanding, anything that's done OTC is not done on-chain or through these registered exchanges is considered an investment contract and therefore is an unregistered security. So before we dive into the rest of that, man, I think this bodes very, very bad for a lot of altcoins who were selling their pre-sale tokens OTC. I think that Uncle Sam is just going to come through and just send thousands of fines to everybody, and it'll probably clear out a lot of these.
Probably, yeah.
Probably billions of dollars. This might even just be a better way for Uncle Sam to honestly, or for the U.S. government to even just make money. Is just because they know that most of these private sales, especially last bull run, were done over the counter. They were not done through exchanges or through Uniswap.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where they would put because I'm a little bit gray on like what that means exactly. For example, like obviously like Ethereum, for example, take the biggest one, right? They had this like a pre-sale, right? What they were calling a pre-sale, where the founders got a percentage, and then I guess it was open to everybody. So I guess in that way it's different, right? Is that it's open to everybody at the same time, therefore not a security, right? While others, I guess who took VC money, as far as my understanding goes, like if you did that, but it was after like a VC round, that VC round would be considered a security sale, but then the public sale would not be considered a security sale. Is that, do I have that right?
So here on the next tweet, and then I'll call on Ethord next, it says, but the programmatic sale of exchanges did not meet the third prong. So sales to users was fine, and this is all regarding primary sales, as long as through the order book and not through an ICO, IEO launch pad and things like that. So it needs to be sold through the order book, and that does not constitute an investment contract. But if it is sold through something like a launchpad, an ICO, all these like initial exchange offerings, that is considered an unregistered security. And as we know, if you're around in 2017, there were tons of ICOs, right? And this is basically what meme coiners were doing, where it's just saying, hey, send money to this contract and then we'll just airdrop you these tokens. From my understanding, that is considered an unregistered security. If you were selling these through these, if you're doing it through, I guess, launch pads that are not exchanges, that is also considered an unregistered security because they're considering it an investment contract, because we know what launch pads are.
So to bring it to like a modern case, right? The Ben.eth one,
yeah,
right? Where it's like, send in Ethereum and I will send you back a token at some point in the future. Then that would fit into that kind of unregistered security thing, right?
That, from my understanding, yes, yeah. So they from here, because if you're selling it through the order book, they're not considering it an investment contract. But if you're doing it through a launchpad, they use the Howey test on this. If you actually read like the documents or the initial case study.
Yep.
So a lot of these meme coiners are definitely they're definitely due millions of dollars. And so my next guess is the SEC is probably going to appeal this. Maybe they don't, and maybe they just send out billions of dollars in fines. And I think the market will definitely react to that, and then it'll probably be up only right after that. Ethord, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of some of the ICOs that are actually successful that would hurt a lot, because so many of them have died out and are just kind of zombies anyway. I'm looking at the top 30. I don't know. Chainlink, I know, was kind of around that time. I'm not sure how it sold, but I think it might have sold something like that. But I don't know. I mean, most of these in the top 20 didn't. And I'm just trying to think who this really hurts with these kind of new classifications.
Yeah, well, you also have to think too, there's a handful of the 2017 ICOs that have already paid fines too. I believe EOS paid a pretty large fine. My guess is the Ethereum Foundation is just going to get fined pretty hard. I don't know though. I wasn't around during that ICO. I don't think they were around. I wasn't around during the ICO, so I don't remember how it was done. I don't know if it was done through an exchange or not. I just know that if you sent ETH somewhere, you got 2,000 Bitcoin, or if you sent one Bitcoin, you got
Bitcoin and you got ETH. Yeah, exactly.
But
I think I'm pretty sure, other than the founders got an allotment. I'm pretty sure it was open to the public. It was like it was wide open. It wasn't like, there wasn't any restriction on it, so it was a public offering. I'm pretty sure.
I kind of like the ruling because now they're going to be pushing all these sales to exchanges and to on-chain kind of on-chain launch pads of some sort. So it makes it more of an even playing field, right? If you remember, during 2021, the whole issue with Solana was that most of the round was private, and nobody else got access to it. And then these funds were just trading kind of like the vesting contract on the back end, so nobody else could get to it. In my understanding, that would be considered an unregistered security in this case. So you'll probably see fines go out to literally every smart contract team of some sort to get a big fine. At this point, though, they all have enough, like probably more than enough to get the fine. My question is, what will the fine be for XRP? Knowing them, though, they've got quite a large treasury. I do know that they also might file a lawsuit against Brad Garlinghouse as well, saying that he was abetting securities laws purposely. So I guess that'll be like a different case. So it says bounties and investments in others using XRP, grants using XRP, and transfers to execs and XRP are not considered securities. Overall, a huge win. XRP is one of the more centralized foundations with the key figurehead who had standard sales via exchanges and formal distribution programs. If those aren't securities, then nothing likely is. So the morale here, he says, kind of sum it up. Don't do institutional private rounds, OTC, sell via exchanges, distribute via protocol natively. And he says, "Fuck you, Gensler."
It's funny. I mean, what are the odds that you then get the Larry Fink, CNBC interview again this morning, right on the heels of this? It all almost just seems orchestrated, the way that kind of stuff works. It just literally seems like, I am not a conspiracy theorist, but when you start seeing this stuff, it's like, wow, this is really, what a coincidence.
I saw too that the SEC acknowledged like 2 or 3 ETFs in the last 2 or 3 days, the BlackRocks, Fidelities, and a few others. So my guess is maybe they just start accepting these ETFs and they just go say, hey, we're going to cut our losses. And
that would be amazing. I just don't see, these guys don't seem like cut losses type people. Like I would be, if I was betting, I would bet that they're definitely going to appeal this and drag it out another couple of years. It's just, it's unfortunate, but that seems to be the MO of.
Hey, BlackRock doesn't lose their ETF filings. They've lost one in the last like 25 years or something. Oh, they've the stat I think was they've submitted 500 and something ETFs and they've won all of them except for one.
Wow.
Over the last like 20 years or something.
Amazing.
So you can't fade Larry Fink. He has the political power. So that's why he's going out there and saying it. He controls like the government.
Not to go down too deep a rabbit hole, but I've gotten down some TikTok rabbit holes where these guys break down the biggest holders of basically every corporation, every powerful corporation in America. And it's always BlackRock, right? BlackRock and Vanguard, and how these guys wield this power like, good Lord. And it's a big issue. It's a big problem, but it is what it is. So, hey, I mean, it's always funny though. Like, hey, if it pushes our bags forward, great. And it's like, that's the way humans operate. Which is just, as long as my bags aren't affected, I'm fine with it, which is crazy, but that's the way we are.
Yeah. How funny is it always like that? I put this tweet out yesterday. I thought it was funny too. I wonder if it's still like this. At one point yesterday, the top 5 tokens were all the 5 coins that were named in the SEC versus Coinbase filing.
Oh, no way. That's funny. Yeah.
It was like XRP, Cardano, Solana, Polygon, another one. They were literally all 5 the top.
Totally makes sense, man. Totally makes sense.
But market seems to be on fire. It seems like there's a little bit of a rotation now, just kind of diagnosing it. Synthetics networks. Are you seeing some of the OG DeFi tokens picking back up? I guess that's a big win for DeFi sectors. So if this is an alt season, Stellar and XRP are still there. Maybe you got to start buying some of these XRP NFTs. Have you been following that at all?
No, no, but I believe it, man. I'm still trying to stay out of the meme coin game and all those in general. Just not trying to. I don't want to get my brain in there because I know how addictive trading is, and I know that I suck at it as well. So those 2 factors lead me to never involve myself in it.
Hey, big win for a lot of things. Big win for BRC20s too, I suppose, right?
Knows what's happening with BitGod. I saw they were supposed to have something yesterday, and then they moved. Tell me what's going on with that.
It was quite interesting, actually. So the Spaces was supposed to be yesterday. They started they basically rebranded everything. Now it's called the Ones. And from my understanding, the Ones, let's see if I can pull the tweet up here. Ones
originally was redacted, right? That's what it is.
So the holding company is or their LLC, I guess, or the team is called Redacted. And so they've now morphed it because it sounds like they're a little bit farther along. It's called the Ones. And this is like they're going to be their NFT project. And I think BitGod put a tweet out earlier. Let me see if I could find it. Here it is. So everything in crypto is being put under a microscope right now. And I do have to say before I continue to read, if you go into his Discord, there is a lot of FUD in there. There is a lot of pain. It is a lot of the when type crowd. And so I really kind of sympathize with him because he's definitely... He's getting he's getting.
It's interesting that that's the case. I'm a bit surprised because I would have thought these people, follow him and are so into him that they would have given him a pass. It's not like he's messed anything up yet, right? So I would have thought they would have given him a pass, as they usually do for these kind of founder, influencers like Frank or whatever, where you almost can't do wrong until you do wrong. So it's like, as long as they haven't put anything out, they're good. You know what I mean? That's usually the MO, is just like, as long as they haven't screwed up by actually releasing something, you almost get like infinite passes. And he hasn't really released anything, so I'm surprised there's major FUD in there.
There is. It's even when we launched the BRC20 product with him and I went in there, people just did not, they didn't register to it. They're more focused on the price being down from 27 cents to 4 cents. Yeah. And so a lot of people probably bought the top or whatever. But things that I saw in there is that a lot of them wanted 10K PFP projects and things like this. And so I think this post right here from today is just him speaking out of frustration more than anything. So he says, in particular, the 10K PFP NFT, why the monkey with the 50th do-rag or the giraffe with the stone eyes is tedious. And so he basically goes on to say, like, he's not doing a 10K PFP. That's not the intention. And so he says, for identity, you want quality, you want to be different, you want to feel special. This is the ones. The ones are a commitment to bringing art and culture to Bitcoin, commitment to quality, commitment to longevity. The ones will be explained on Saturday. Is OXB always going to be involved in redacted? For now, yes. For now is a little scary. Sure. Right? The ones are,
honestly,
the ones are just the first thing redacted is working on. Has redacted or OXBT ever sold, or team ever sold OXBT? No, OXBT has never been sold on the open market to VCs or to an external party. And then he goes on to say, I realize I may get a ton of heat for these takes, but I'm at the point of no return. Clearly, the model of the 10K PFP is broken. Someone needs to do something about it. It says, to be very clear, I'm here to stay, convicted on Bitcoin, ordinals, and everything in the building. And there was something that he said.
I love that first comment, by the way. 10K is broken. Try 9,999.
He goes,
great take.
The reason why it was pushed back is he said that it was pushed back for legal reasons. It was like the big thing. Yeah, he said that they held off on it. So if he says for now, OXBT, maybe there's some sort of legal case surrounding BRC20s, which is, could bode very bad. As we know, OpenSea also paused listings for us, for our BRC20 too, for some sort of like legal concerns. So I think people are still trying to figure out what these are. But I mean, if XRP is not a security, right? BRC20s, I couldn't see being a security. If anything, they'd be more of a commodity than anything. Also, right, I could see just like kind of initial concerns, right? They did launch it on a launchpad, which, right, would be an unregistered security, but they didn't sell anything. It was free. It was a free mint. But I could see, some angst of
they might have gotten some. Maybe they worked out a deal with the minting. I'm just saying, I have no idea. It's possible they took a portion of mint fees or something like that.
Yeah, if they did, then behind the doors, then that would be some concerns. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So there's probably something behind the scenes that they're not talking about. But for me, it's a free mint. You did use a launch pad, but it's also on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's a commodity, right, then with a BRC20, it's still the same. It's still the same. It's still an ordinal at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what we were saying to OpenSea, but it's still the peak bear market, and there's still a lot of things that have to be figured out. So that was my guess, is they probably had to internalize and really figure out what they wanted to do. If he dumps OXBT, man, I'm gonna be down bad. But
well, it's interesting. Well, would they use OXBT as the way to like purchase funds, right? That would reward one holders, right? That would be a reward, and I think that would be a good thing for them to do. Worst case for me, and I hold 0, so I do not have a dog in this race, but I think the most negative would be, we're doing a whatever collection. I say it's open mint and anybody can get it, and it's 0.01 BTC or something, right? Where it looked like a money grab or something. That would be, I think, super negative. I think their community might be bullish on it, but from a outsider looking in perspective, that would be like, oh boy, he wasted his well, not wasted. He earned BTC for it, but like his good vibes, or that's basically going to be it for him. But I don't know. It's not an easy needle to thread. He's not in a great position if he's already getting FUD in his Discord. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in his position.
Dude, you guys, I just have to say, I'm so sick and tired of these genuine people, these influencers coming in and dropping these free mints on the like, it makes me sick to my stomach that these grifters actually have the audacity to bring value, to create value and distribute that and like have a perfect mint. Like that is just it's ridiculous.
Let's call a spade a spade. It's wrong. It's just wrong, I say.
Yeah, like, you look at Bitcoin whales, yes, they absolutely crushed the Twitter algorithm, and each founder has like 130K followers. It was a free mint. Yeah, Gamma wasn't, prepared to with the proper kind of minting infrastructure to get those minted out. And just that FUD alone just really killed momentum. But at the end of the day, after a 24-hour period, 8,000 digital assets went out to people's wallets and it was free. So it's just, you can't, this is bear market mentality. Like people are just, they're demanding the bar is like, where is the bar right now? It's ridiculous. Like you literally can't win. Yeah. It's like, I think that art is awesome on Bitcoin whales. I don't think people appreciate the kind of time that goes into all this stuff, and seize control and BitGod, everything. Like if you DM BitGod, like he responds. I don't think people understand like just how much time and energy and thought and love and passion goes into these things. It's so easy, just like if you have nothing going on in your life, it's so easy to pop into a Discord and just like spam, like, and just make up all these theories about like, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous. And I think, maybe all these factors that you guys were discussing is going to kind of bring us out of this and change sentiment. I was pretty bullish off the bottom. In fact, I only posted two little price predictions, like bottom posts back in June. I'm excited to see, some of the bears flip bullish. That's usually like a sentiment indicator for me to get bearish, but I'll embrace it. Larry Fink, for people who don't know, if BlackRock was a country, it'd be the third largest country, by value. It's a little deceiving because technically it's their customers' funds. Yeah, but it's just an obscene amount of influence.
They control those funds and the influence, right? That's the thing.
Yeah. The New York Stock Exchange is like, I don't know, $77 trillion. It really does guide the entire world. And Larry Fink pretty much guides the entire investing community. So you could say, outside of Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, like Larry Fink pretty much tells everyone what to invest in. If he says, look, the next decade is going to be ESG, people start investing in ESG over a decade, not just like, oh, I'm going to buy it today and sell it tomorrow. Like some of these altcoin pumps we're seeing, we've seen this in the past, like Ethereum Classic, EOS. A lot of these things will just have massive pumps because they're easy to get pushed around. There's low float, there's no liquidity, so price can just like explode. I hope some of the new people kind of coming in, maybe they came back to Bitcoin through Ordinals. I hope they get to see a 25% move, because what I'm seeing is, it almost seems like Larry Fink has a bag bias now. Like,
bro, it supposedly is pumping OXBT in private calls, man. I
heard that. But no, the frequent CNBC appearances. Yeah. Like, I'm not impressed by this move, to be honest. Like, yeah, I hold a lot of things that went up significantly in value. Sure. But like Bitcoin went from 30,000 to 31,000.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's what I said. I think Jake said XRP was up 70 or 80%. I was like, is that all?
90. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still off like 80% from its all-time high.
So to me, like the inflows haven't even begun. And I think there's still a lot of hesitation I think to the normal crowd, they're like, okay, maybe there's clarity on the security. Maybe there isn't. I think once they see a tradable spot Bitcoin ETF, that's going to kind of signal, okay, this is fully embraced by the traditional financial institution. This has been graced. And when GLD came out, the gold ETF, it saw billions and billions of inflows in that first week. And I expect something similar, and I expect people to trade that, and it could always be a sell the news event at first.
Sure.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I think the bigger thing here that people aren't thinking about, and what could actually be a massive, massive tailwind, is the political side of things, right? If Biden's approval rating is like super low, not to get political, but like there is going to be a candidate. I expect Bitcoin on the ballot. So what I mean by that is, like, if you need to drum up support, like look what Elizabeth Warren did. She thought people were like, we're going to join her by saying like, oh, these crypto people got rich and we don't like that because prices are high and inflation's high. So let's make them the enemy. And that didn't work. I don't think that works on the youth. They're like, actually, this is kind of cool. Like I can, be in control of my money and, peer-to-peer in all decentralized fashion. So I think it's a really easy, low-hanging fruit, and politicians can pivot on a dime. I mean, tomorrow, Biden could say, hey, I need to drum up a lot of support from this base who I know is going to vote Democratic. And they could literally fire Gary Gensler, replace them with someone that next week embraces crypto, and see this massive boon. And that's the kind of, like, if the ship is turning right now very slowly, at that point, it'll completely be going in the other direction. And I think, having seen a few cycles, it's like you see this kind of grind and this chop. We're going up, but not very quickly. And then boom, it's like you can't even catch it.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about low float altcoins. I'm talking about Bitcoin, like 20% candles.
Yeah, I mean, look, the retail isn't here yet, right? This is new followers, new people are not here yet. This is all just us all trading our own money, right? The new people have not arrived yet, and so the bull cycle really doesn't it may begin now, but it's not really fully on till we just onboard a whole, the next 10, 15, 20 million people.
We still have the Coinbase lawsuit. You still have the Binance lawsuit. You still have to wait for an appeal. Like, there's still a lot of things that have to happen. You're going to have to wait for this wave of fines to go out. Like, we're nowhere out of the clear.
Nowhere.
And there's still going to be some hesitation, but we'll take the W. It was
good, bro. It's
the first W that crypto's really had in quite some time. So
a while. Yeah, it's been all
Jake,
blues for a while.
What's with the fines? Was that part of the ruling?
Well, yeah. So we discussed this a little bit in the beginning, but XRP and Ripple, they're still getting sued. So any primary sale of distribution of XRP that was not facilitated through an exchange is considered an unregistered security. So all of their OTC sales to institutions, they're going to have to pay a fine for. And if you know how crypto works, these private OTC deals, when a token starts, is how most of these alt layer ones get their funds. They do these private sales to hedge funds or crypto VCs, and then they sell it. And so my guess is this is how U.S. government's probably just going to make a ton of money, because they're going to go find Solana, they're going to go find Aptos, they're going to go find Near and all these other alt layer ones, and all these meme coiners who are saying, hey, send me money at this wallet address and then I'll airdrop you tokens. From this ruling, that's considered an unregistered security, because they're considering that a financial contract or financial investment contract. But distributing it through a crypto exchange is not considered an investment vehicle. So
that's great. I mean, they're being treated like banks. Like banks literally, okay, you make billions and billions of dollars a year, and then you pay like hundreds of millions in fines. Like that's how the game goes.
Yep.
Like, look at Wells Fargo. I mean, they settle every year, they get sued and fined for hundreds of millions of dollars, but it doesn't even matter. That's just part of doing business.
Yep. Yeah. So for me, my favorite part of that is that it's going to bring all these transactions on chain for the most part, so that people don't get fined. I guarantee you're going to start seeing some of these like on chain launchpads probably start up or some sort, or there's going to be these token portals that are going to be registered. It does centralize some power. I get re-centralize some power with these crypto exchanges again. But it gives also a lot of opportunity. So maybe these small companies, these small American companies that were forced out, like Bittrex, might be able to come back. Coinbase will have their own portal, and it makes them a little bit more powerful in America. But it does eliminate a lot of that scam, and it also creates a lot more equal opportunity for anybody to get in on these early token offerings. Which is originally how it was, and then kind of got away with it over the last few years. Because I know, for example, most of Solana's token distribution was done private OTC, and the reason why I know that is because All In podcasts have talked about it publicly. So,
are you saying David Sachs going to jail?
So yeah, you'll see some of these. My guess is you'll probably see like a wave of fines go out, probably in the like tens of billions of dollars, and it might cripple some of these firms. And then the other ones are like, "Hey, we prepared for this day," and then that'll be over with. And then once that's done, we get to move on to the next thing, the Coinbase.
Well, I hope it goes that smooth. I think it's more like this. I think this is going to drag out. This may not be over, right? If this goes to a higher court and gets overturned, good God help us, So.
Yeah, it'll be tough, but yeah, you never really know. But closing, I did want to close up on that OXBT chat. So tomorrow, I think at 1 p.m. they're going to talk about the Ones, which is his NFT project. My guess is maybe it's just like a bunch of one-of-ones. Maybe they're, I know I've talked with him privately about some of it, so I don't want to say too much because I don't know for sure if that's still what they're doing. But it does sound pretty cool, like what they've been planning. And I do believe like the original plan was to spend OXBT on these NFTs, which is also something that MXRC and the MetaGood project is doing as well, which they also launched too. So they followed kind of the OXBT route and launched on Luminex as well, free mint, right? Damn them. Their tokens, their BRC20 is also down bad, but they're going forward with it, and I believe it's 10,000 MXRC, which is like, I don't know, $100 or something. And I believe they're burning burning like 50% of it or something like that.
Wait, let's try to get an estimate on how much OXBT I'm going to need to get a couple of these. What do you think I'm probably going to need?
I guess probably 10,000. Well, it's 200 million, so maybe 10,000. I think he said in the Discord it was 10,000 or something around there. The token or let's see, on Sats Hunter, it says that OXBT is 4 cents right now. Oh, it's up a little bit, so yeah, like 4.5 cents or so.
So for 10K, what is that? $40 is going to get me 10K, or no, 400.
Is it 400?
Wait. Am I doing my?
No, it's 400. Yeah, 400. 400. So here you can see OXBT. And this is a good site too, Sats Watcher. This is what I've been using a lot. So here you could look. It's funny. I put a tweet out the other day. All these BRC20 tokens that have over 10,000 holders, they're all like down, like astronomically bad. Like look at this. That just to me, it just looks like accumulation more than anything. Let's see. Like MXRC, I think is similar as well. If you start like diagnosing these, like you can even see some of my buys. I've been buying it like all the way down. I believe in it, man. I've actually talked with Good like a handful of times on like private, and we did a podcast, and I think that team got dealt a really bad hand, but I like what they're doing. So, but then on the other hand, like these like low cap, low holder tokens, like this is only like 10,000, I think. And like you can see, like it's like near its all-time high. And a lot of these are like that. Like Track is like that too. I'm just like publicizing all my buys, but
Jake,
whatever.
This site, Sats Watcher, is pretty dope.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tip.
Yeah, no problem.
Love that. For anyone down not looking, it's like trading view for BRC20s.
Yeah, it's good. It does have some issues. I think it still runs into like the indexer issues where all these indexers are still not always completely on page. although they do get, it is pretty close. And that's my favorite tool for that so far.
I think it's cool, just the sheer amount of holders on OXBT. The fact that the market cap is still $8 million, and you know, the team hasn't sold anything. Billy hasn't sold anything. I may have round tripped some buys, you know. Let's go. That's nothing new in crypto, man.
Well, hey, look, it's bullish for it. If it's required to purchase the PFPs, I think that'll cause a nice bump in price, right? I mean, that would make sense. Not to say go buy it, but you know, that would make sense at least.
These ones like MXRC, BOTC, OXBT, these are all going to be like their community currencies of some sort. So I'm interested to see how they differentiate. But to me, I see a future where, like, you know, if like Omnisat is live and you can have you can purchase NFTs or like Ordinals, like a sub 10K with OXBT or with MXRC, I think that's kind of like where this is going to go. Granted, it's probably going to take a year or two to get there for the technology.
Jake, can you hear me too? Are you able to hear me? I wonder if Jake might. Yo, Jake, can you hear me, man? It's funny. I'm still in the StreamYard, but you vanished.
All right. Yeah, make sure you mute it. Sorry, guys. I don't know what to. Yeah, desktop said Jake rug pulled. I don't know what happened. Yeah, it just went down for a second. That was weird.
That's wild, man. That's the first time that one's ever happened.
Yeah, that was weird. All right, we're back.
Guys, we don't know what a StreamYard is, okay?
They don't know what a StreamYard is. They don't know what video is. They don't know any of this stuff, man. They know what
hacking the system
are. That's it.
All right, moving on to the next thing, and then we'll go into Hoarder's Corner next. There was a recent historical NFT relaunch. We haven't had one of these, Adam, in quite some time.
I guess the last one was also a Pepe. It was, you know, Peparium or whatever. It was probably the last, you know, significant one.
Yeah, we're going back to our roots.
Yeah, this one was kicked around for a while. With these guys were trying to get this together.
Yeah, and can you pin that to the top too so that they can see it's on niche X. So the first Pepe PFP collection was launched in 2018 and might be a diamond in the rough. Here's why I think it should be something special about it. And you can see these Pepes are pretty cool looking, right? They got an Elvis. If you guys can see on YouTube, you'll be able to follow through, or the pinned post Adam will put. So Adam and I, for those who don't know, we come from the historical NFT community and ETH Hoard. That's kind of where me, Adam, and Leo and ETH Hoard, we all began back in 2021. So we're all familiar with this. Adam had helped relaunch, I don't know, dozens of these like older NFT projects. And every once in a while, the community uncovers a project and they help relaunch it. And you want to tell them how complex it is to try to relaunch one of these things?
Well, first of all, like this, and I don't know the full details. So, you know, I heard about it. Some guys contacted me, you know, maybe a month and a half or 2 months ago about it. And so I didn't go too deep on it, but some of the challenges are, for example, you know, okay, where are the images stored? In this contract, I'm not exactly sure, but I don't believe they're IPFS or anything like that. What is the token? I believe this is like an ERC20 token. So there's all these questions and issues, just like with the base level contract. And then, do they know who the founder is? Can they work with the founder? Who holds the supply, right? This, I believe you can still go and mint and all this sort of stuff. But, you know, there are all these technical challenges because most of these contracts have significant problems to bring them to a modern collector. And so usually, like with these guys, they had to build a wrapper to actually put the tokens into, which will allow them to be listed on OpenSea and this sort of stuff. So it's significant. The challenge they're not zero. And, whatever. They did a nice job of relaunching it and, you know, telling a little bit about the story and stuff. And, you know, here it is, you know, a 2018, you know, Pepe project on Ethereum, which did have, I believe, you know, this kind of like, similar to, you know, CryptoKitties, this ability to like mint new ones based on other ones, and, you know, this kind of breeding mechanism. And so it's, you know, it is what it is. It's kind of cool. The images, you know, I was talking to Jake offline a little bit about it. It's like, you know, people get really strict on what's good or not good, or legitimate or not legitimate based on their bag preference often. And so I am absolutely not going to talk negatively about this at all because I don't know any of the details. I know but that it's a legit 2018 project that failed in 2018, but, you know, it is what it is. Like, this is another kind of cool little project that was done, failed, and, you know, these guys bringing it back because Pepe's interesting. Dude, Pepe's always going to be interesting. And that it was one of the first on Ethereum is cool. And yeah, so these guys, I think, did a pretty nice job bringing it back.
I pulled one of the posts from the thread. I think this is one of the founders. This was from April 18, 2018. Said it would be a great promotion if this profile pic thing goes viral.
that is a freaking great. That is a really great little snippet, man. That is so cool, dude. That is cool, man. I mean, look, back then, this profile pic thing or whatever, you know, we were still calling them avatars back then, right? It's like, it's so cool when you catch little snippets like that.
Yeah, I actually had the PFP godfather, I forget what his actual name is, on my podcast, and he had created like an avatar project in 2003, even before the PFP stuff. And he's done like his whole like historical kind of timeline on it. And it didn't even it wasn't considered, nothing was considered a PFP until literally like 2020, 2021. It was still just like very new, even though they're kind of referencing it here. So this is a combination. Yeah, there was a breeding component to it. You could also, I believe, fight these Pepes in an arena of some sort. And there was a token that you could mine called the DPEP token.
Yeah, I think you needed the DPEP to actually mint the new ones. Correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody knows who's in the audience, please come up and tell us about the details. But I think you needed that in order to then kind of do the minting of new ones, kind of thing. That was my rough understanding, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, something like that. And there's also a proof of work mechanic to it as well. So there is, at least from the supply, so there's 1,100 Gen 0 crypto Pepes. 100 were pre-mined by the founders, so they're the ones that are probably dumping on everybody. There is a duplicate contract created in 2021 to avoid bugs. They were wrapped, and I'm gonna go over here to here. I'll go to the website first. So website looks pretty cool, right? I mean, it's pretty standard. They did a good job. Crypto Pepes was a 2018 NFT breeding and collecting game on Ethereum where the initial supply of the NFTs had to be mined. There were plans to also make a battle style game and build its own blockchain called Pep Chain, but these never eventuated.
These grand plans, man.
A Crypto Pepe exists as a collectible historical NFT in the first Pepe PFP collection. It's pretty cool stuff. I didn't buy any yet. I was gonna wait for the price to come down, to be completely honest. When I first checked these out, the floor on these Gen Zeros were like 1 ETH. And I think now they've come down like quite drastically here. I'm gonna pull this up on OpenSea. But Ethor, I'd like to hear your opinion on these. I know as you're one of our native historical NFT friends, did you buy any of these crypto Pepes?
I have not. I saw a tweet about it yesterday. It's been pretty crazy busy. I haven't been on Twitter and in the crypto scene as much the last 2 weeks, but yeah, I mean, they look awesome. I remember there being a couple of different Pepe projects that came up, and did you say that even this one had a duplicate contract in 2021?
Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Always the case.
Always, bro. I mean, and I'm just waiting for somebody to find the earlier version that doesn't really work. Bring that one back. But yeah, it's funny, man. And they are cool, like legit. Like if these, I mean, I've seen a lot of bad, you know, Pepe kind of PFPs, newer ones. These are legit cool. So you know, it's cool.
So what's the total supply because of breeding and all that, and have they turned off that feature?
I believe it's still open as far as I know. You can still breed them like today.
From what I read, you could still breed them, but I believe they cut the wrapper off around like 5,500.
Yeah. What? You can't do that, Jake. That's illegal.
I believe so. It was somewhere in here. Yeah, right here. So it says right here. It says the current wrapper only supports the existing supply. When the wrapper was finalized this year, approximately 5,500. Yeah, so they cut the wrapper off.
That's not a real wrapper. A wrapper wraps the entire contract, Jake. I'm just joking. This is salty Adam with all the you know, my DMs filled with people yelling at me, but you know, times change, people change. It's all good, man. It's cool. And
the historical NFT community is loosening their.
It's so funny, you know. At the end of the day, actually, at the end of the day, it's nice because those people who were super hardcore, fight everything, this is awful, you know, this isn't true, have come around to like the softer side where it's just like, no, man, this, you know, it's 2018 contract, you know, cool or not, it is what it is. You can like it or not and collect it or not, and the value is going to be decided by the market, period, full stop, long term. And so we'll see how it goes, but welcome Pepe 2018 to the historical NFT community.
Yeah, love it. Love to get to dive back into it. Have not left the historical NFT community, and I've seen some tweets there saying that we abandoned them. We have not abandoned them,
bro. It's funny. I was literally in a bunch of Discords this past week when we were in a little bit of a lull, and I, you know, chimed in, hey, anybody still here? You know, it's like one or two people like, yeah, man, where are you? And I'm like, I'm here, bro. I'm here. Just waiting for the next cycle, man.
Yeah.
Adam, don't worry. The pitchforks will come back out.
Oh, of course, bro.
Everyone cares again, you know, and those Discords are all filled with a bunch of doobies and everyone pumping their bags. And
dude, the next bull run, it's going to be like, bro, you've been shilling this shit for a decade. And it's like, well, yeah, I guess I have been.
the ultimate finality, which I don't think is ever going to happen, but hopefully is everyone come around on Namecoin stuff. But that is the heart. That is the biggest line in the stand or in the sand for the community. One thing I'm glad though is that everyone seems to, the whole historical community is just even added more reinforcement around Mooncats as being this like pristine top historical NFT collection. Because that was my thought during rediscovery. I was like, oh, this is the holy grail of HNFTs, and it seems like it
come around to you, Jake, man. It's funny how and I just give that to the community, right? From a community perspective, there was so much positive vibes around Mooncats. That the negatives around it, you know, that it was all minted, most are minted in 2021, you know, the kind of negative aspects of it have been, you know, pushed under the rug. And, you know, it's all about generative and how awesome and early they were to generative, and they were, right? And, you know, and so, yeah, I think at least in the historical NFT community, there's huge, you know, Mooncats are like this. It's funny, but they're like, you know, top tier from a historical NFT perspective. People love them maybe higher than anything is other than punks, maybe. Like it's right there. It's like Mooncat. It's like punks, Pepes, and Mooncats. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. It's
crazy. The amount of love.
We lost Billy. We bored him with the historical stuff.
Yeah.
To kind of like to finalize that, it's actually over the last few months I've seen like a bunch of the PFP influencers discussing like, ooh, early AI art or early generative stuff. I think that's going to hold a lot of value. Or I saw the 2017 stuff's going to hold value, and I'm like, yep, that's kind of what we're saying. And then they'll come out and then be like, no, but the historical stuff's a grift. And I'm like, oh, but so you get to set the guidelines now, but we don't, even though we've been here. It's so funny. The one thing I never understood is like, why is it okay to speculate on PFPs and art, but you're not allowed to speculate on history? I never understood why that's such a big line in the sand for some people. I don't know. To me,
dude, if we've learned any, it's a line in the sand because their bags are packed in a different method, in a different way than our bags are packed, right? Like I might think, you know, I don't know, that squigglies are the whatever the biggest grift of all time. I may think that, right? But there are a lot of people with a lot of money who are pushing them, you know. And so do I think they're probably going to win? They probably are going to win, even though they're stupid, right? But to say they're stupid, you know, that's my bags packed, right? So, I mean, I just think we need to move to this like new spot where everybody just recognizes we all base our opinions based on our existing life circumstance, which includes the NFTs we hold or don't hold, and realize we're all in the same boat, right? We're all in the NFT boat, and our boat's tiny, and the rest of the world is telling us that NFTs are BS, right? So we better get our shit together and start paddling, because if we paddle, like, we're all set. It doesn't matter, but yeah, I don't know. Some people don't feel like it's the same boat. They're in another boat because they have perfect squiggles or whatever.
Perfect squiggles. I do like the squiggles though, but man, they're pretty expensive now.
80 for one of those things? Come on, man. Come on, bro.
Infinity is in the eye of the beholder. Very similar.
Day one Mooncat every day, twice on Sunday, man. Come on.
Right? Very similarly, just with normal tokens too. If you have an opportunity and you miss out on it, you hate it more and you want it to do bad, and then you start, yelling on the top of the mountain about how dumb it is and how ugly it is, especially in NFTs because it's more visual. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think going back to Mooncats, it's this throughput of NFTs. It's really not hated by anyone, which is pretty interesting, or at least not hated by a ton of big groups of people. It kind of unites all these different factions within NFT community, which is interesting. Yet it's never mooned, right? In the true sense, and you could get like 50 of them for one squiggle or something.
Yep. No kidding. It's funny, and then I'll pass this off to ETH Horde. Right as XRP was not called a security, one of my friends, Rags, who I had on the podcast, she had been creating NFTs on XRPL, which is like the XRP NFT platform, I guess. She was like, you better get these historical XRP NFTs before people start buying them up.
That's so funny. I was literally going to make a tweet like, XRP inscriptions incoming. Like, what's going on over there?
It's called XRPL, I believe. So I keep telling her I'm going to dive into it. So I think maybe today I'll finally look into it. But she was like one of the first ones to make NFTs on XRP. I believe it went live like a few months ago. So speculating on history again, but not speculating here, but now discussing history is ETH Horde and Hoarder's Corner. So let's pass it off to you, sir.
Hey, thank you. This is Hoarder's Corner, a weekly segment that explores the world of physical collecting, digging into history and exploring which characteristics drive value to drive parallels with historical NFTs. This week, I've been wanting to do this one for a while. I'm not a big collector of it, but I am in awe of the market that it does produce, which is basketball sneakers.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
Any of you guys collectors? I feel like, Jake, you probably got a bunch of Air Jordans.
No, I'm actually not the shoe person to talk to. I'm the guy who wears the same shoes until they're just are dead. I don't collect them at all. Not my game. I don't know anything about them. So
I've dabbled a little, not directly purchasing them, but there used to be an app where you could buy like fractional shoes and stuff. And I dabbled in that a little bit. So I had a couple of, what did I have? I had like the backboard breaking Air Jordans, like the ones, was it backboard break? Like one of these, like when he shattered a backboard, these were the Air Jordans he was wearing or something. It was like, yeah. So anyway, run into this, man. This is going to be interesting.
That's awesome. Were you able to turn a profit when you were doing the fractional?
I think so. Yeah. Those I made money on that platform for sure. Because I got in it was like anything. You get in super early and then the, dumb retail comes in.
I remember in college, right? You have so much free time and you're just trying to make a buck. So I didn't do this, but a lot of my friends did, right? They'd wait in line at weird hours to get those limited edition shoes and then flip them. And yeah, people were making a couple hundred just from waiting in line and doing it. And it's just like a fun side gig too. I think it's about the excitement of being able to do it less than the actual profit you're making.
Sure.
Okay, so the origins of shoes, I'm going to go briefly into I always like to, when we do these topics, to figure out a little more about, how did this even start before basketball shoes? Obviously, shoes have been a necessity for humans since ancient times. Early footwear was made of animal hides and natural materials like bark and leaves. Trying to picture shoes made of leaves.
Hey, to not cut your feet back in the prehistoric days, that makes sense.
But then when we think of like the first style of footwear, we think of kind of ancient Egyptians and Romans, right? They loved their sandals. They emphasized both functionality and style. And then you kind of jump forward to the 17th and 18th century, and that's more of your like super classic dress shoes, even like today, right? They look kind of like that. Those were popular, and they were really kind of status symbols back then, right? So the fashion trends were kind of to show, you know, who had enough money to actually wear tailored shoes. But it wasn't until the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, which brought advancements in shoe manufacturing, which enabled mass production and affordability. So at that point, it didn't matter, you know, if you were in 1930s depression and homeless, you still had some shoes on your feet, thanks to those technological advances. But if we fast forward to the modern day, shoes have become an integral part of pop culture, influenced by sports, fashion, and celebrity endorsements. Have either of you guys seen, or anyone in the audience too? I mean, if you've seen Air, it's a fantastic, entertaining movie. I don't believe it's 100% accurate, but it is a fun story, and I highly recommend it. And it's the birth of the Air Jordan.
I did watch that. I did watch that one. That was a good one.
Yeah. So, and it's nice to see Matt Damon and Ben Affleck sharing the screen again. Right? Okay, so the evolution of basketball shoes. The popularity of basketball in the 20th century led to the development of specialized basketball shoes. Converse's Chuck Taylor All-Stars were, I don't know if, Jake, you have this up to see it. Hopefully you don't. I want to ask, Adam and Jake, when do you think Converse Chuck Taylor first hit the market?
We have it up. So.
I have it up, but somebody in the audience probably raise your hand if you want to guess. But I would have never thought it was this far back. I would have thought 1950, right? That would have been my, yeah.
I had to check a couple sources, and to be honest, 1917 is kind of wishy-washy of it being Chuck Taylor All-Stars. There's some pre-Chuck Taylor Converse shoe for basketball that came out in 1917, but in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to put that date because that was when they first started making the Converse basketball shoes, and then Chuck Taylor put his name on it. I think like a decade later.
Amazing.
Yeah. In the 1980s, Nike revolutionized the basketball shoe market with the release of the Air Jordan line, collaboration with Michael Jordan. Air Jordan became a cultural phenomenon, with each new release generating immense hype and collector interest.
I still remember a kid, what's his name? In my school, I was in middle school when those got released. And what's his name? Anyway, a kid had a pair, and like the whole school was literally like buzzing, like, oh my God. And I just looked at him and I was like, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. The original Jordans, man, they were like red and black and but man, the whole school was like on fire with these shoes, man.
Didn't you grow up in Chicago too?
No, I grew up in Connecticut, but they were a big deal. It was a big deal. A big deal.
I was going to say, for you to hate on those colors if you grew up in Chicago.
Damn, these Chuck Taylors I have on screen are from 1923.
They look like just like the ones like today. It's incredible, man. They do.
Except aged a million years, right? It's like, did the ancient
100 years
Egyptians win?
I mean, can you imagine? Yeah, it's over 100 years old. That's incredible, dude.
But they look older, right? They look older than 100 years.
I would put these on.
Yeah, these actually, they look pretty sweet. Actually, they look like if they made a model like that today, like that's the one I might actually buy. They look pretty cool.
Yeah, they definitely have that iconic looks, you know, even back in the early 1900s.
By the way, if you've ever tried to play basketball in Chuck Taylors, you're in for a world of hurt. They're not made for athletics. It's really bad. Really bad. I wore Chuck Taylors in college for years, for like all of my college experience, and actually played a couple pickup games in them. Jesus, not meant for playing anything in them. They're awful.
They will flatten your arches in a matter of weeks.
Better to play barefoot, man. Yeah.
So to value, right? I don't always talk about value because they're so obvious in some of these collections. But this one is pretty interesting, right? You got the limited edition releases and collaborations, and of course, rare vintage shoes. that command high values, exclusive colorways, unique designs, and iconic collaborations increase the desirability of these things. So without further ado, we'll go into the notable sales. I do want to note, I could have just done a list of super expensive shoes that were worn by famous basketball players and then sold, but I thought it was more interesting to talk about brand new unworn shoes and how much some of the more expensive ones went for. There's a list of 10. I didn't grab just the 3 most expensive. I grabbed 3 that I thought were some of the most unique. So I'm going to start with the Nike Air Mag, which is the iconic Back to the Future shoe. This sold for $12,000. And thank you, ETH, for being $2,000 right now, because it made the math very easy. That is 6 ETH. Nike recreated these futuristic shoes in 2011, initially making only 20 pairs and selling them for $12,000 a pop. Since then, they've made a lot more, and they obviously don't sell for the same amount, but those, those are, what's the word I'm looking for? They're like reprints, and they say that on. Nike Air Zoom Kobe ones. These sold for $30,000 each, 15 ETH a piece. The Air Zooms were released in 2005 when Kobe dominated. He wore these shoes in his epic 81-point game, which is the second most in NBA history. And only 25 pairs of this shoe were ever made. So I would assume now, with Kobe's passing, if one of these were to go up, it doesn't matter if Kobe signed them or wore them or anything like that. They're gonna probably
throw a zero on the back of that, man. That's like probably $300,000 for those, I would think.
And then the most expensive shoe that wasn't worn by an athlete is the special edition Reebok Question. Sold for $65,000, which is a full validator, 32. Designed by Allen Iverson, AI, right? Was he the question, the answer? I can't remember his nickname. Do you remember?
He was the answer. Yeah.
The answer, yeah.
So this was the question. He was the answer. That's the point of it.
So dude, that's the ugly. That may be the ugliest shoe of all time. Look at that shoe, man. That is something, bro. You guys join the
I own 20 of these, Adam, and I think it's a shoe, and everyone should buy one. But yeah, I think that clown red and white looks bad. The all black looks a little better, but it looks outdated for sure, right? With the kind of beehive soles.
Dude, it looks like a child shoe, like like my little 2-year-old, I would have put that on my kid when he was like a 2 or 3-year-old or something. It looks
because it said it came out with 246 studded diamonds, a leather upper, suede overlays, comfortable hexalite cushioning, and a translucent outsole.
Wow.
A lot of marketing jargon.
Yeah,
but
exactly, dude.
And yeah, this was a one of one. There was only one, so that's why it's so expensive. But I did look into it. There's a lot of these Reebok Questions. They're still making them now. And if you want to buy one, they're still over $100 to get one without diamonds. So that's a lot of money for a shoe that looks like it should be on Adam's old 2-year-old.
Scroll up a little, Jake. I want to see those other ones again. So Jake's got it on. So that's the question. Okay, so Jordan's at the second spot, Jordan 3s.
Jordan's like most of these. Look at that.
Yeah.
The Jordan 6
He's had like the leopard skin. I actually like the 6s. That's like the all blacks.
Yeah.
The Kobe's are pretty interesting and cool. But there's the Jordan 1. That was the one, the black and white.
Yeah. This is the
Do
one
you
that
think the Kobe's look a lot like the Back to the Future shoe?
It's funny. They do. It's actually like, for me, I like those now. They look cool now, but trust me, whatever, 1985 or whatever, it was
2002. Yeah.
It was stunning the way those look. But those Kobe's are
My roommate in college had 20 different color of the Air Jordans. It was insane. I gave him shit every day for it.
You're right about the Air Mag looking like the Kobe's. That's kind of interesting. The Michael J. Fox shoe. So funny.
Yeah, and then Ethord also, I don't know if you were going to go over this, the other one that you shared of the Michael Jordan's Last Dance trainers. Were you going to?
Yeah. So,
okay.
So this is the Grail. I wanted to include this because it's a record-breaking sale. This sold actually pretty recently, I think last year. But the Air Jordan 13s sold last year for $2.2 million. That's 1,100 each. So you keep it going home. These shoes were worn by Michael Jordan in Game 2 of the 1997 Finals. This was Jordan's last dance year. He obviously did come back to the NBA to play for the Wizards, but I mean, this was his final year. And then that documentary came out, which probably helped this thing sell. They set a record price at auction for game-worn sports footwear, and it actually broke his own record. 1.1 million was the old record, which was for a different set of Jordan game-worn shoes. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Obviously, Jordan is the king of footwear, and it's no surprise that the next one that will probably break this record will be another pair.
And look at the headline here. It says the price came in well below Sotheby's predicted high of $4 million. And it was double. It was still double what the last one was.
Funny.
Yeah, quite
Fair
interesting.
market, right?
So what would you rather have, these Air Jordans or an Alien Punk? They're both 1,100 ETH. So you get, or maybe it's a zombie that value. I don't even know at this point anymore.
I take the Punk.
Me too.
Yeah, right. I can't flip these immediately. Wait until somebody creates an NFT representation of this, and then goes and borrows against it on Arcade for like, I don't know, 500 ETH. And everyone's like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't know if you saw. Have you guys seen that recently of the tokenized Rolexes that are being borrowed against on Arcade?
Yeah, I saw that. Very cool.
Just the beginning, man. For those that haven't been following around, so Arcade is it's a NFT borrowing and lending platform that we work with at Emblem Vault. I don't know if they partnered with this company or not, but of recency, there's been 3 or 4 Rolexes that have been turned into NFTs, and then people are going and borrowing against it. And there's a company, I don't remember the company's name, that's kind of like, I guess, the leader in this of tokenizing it.
Yep.
It's
that's always the issue, right? It was like, who's going to be the trusted third party to take the physical, hold it, and then issue the NFT against it? That's just like, you need this trusted third party, right? And obviously this company's moved into that space.
Yep. And then to redeem it, you burn the NFT, and then it gives you like I guess then, because it's a central entity, they know that it's burned, and so then you send your address in.
Yep.
That's going to be the huge unlock whenever that starts happening, because then you can attach.
It's happening, right? It's like, yeah, it's we talked about it. Okay, well, in the art space, right? Who's going to be that trusted third party, right? Is it going to be Sotheby's, or who's going to be the ones to accept it and issue the NFT against it? That's what you need for the physical. Seems like, unless somebody figures out another way. Yeah,
before I started working at Emblem, I almost signed a contract with this third party, this very large third party sneaker company. I think it might be the largest third party sneaker company in the world. And I was helping them consult on this idea, and it was the same idea. They're going to do it with sneakers, where they had this AC climate controlled room with cameras in it, and they would issue 500 NFTs against each shoes, and they would have their own marketplace. And it was for the sneakerheads to basically flip the price exposure against each other. And at any point you could go and redeem the NFT by burning it, and they would send it to you. But at any point you could like tap into it was like a token gated access, where if you had the token to it, then it would show you the cameras of that like AC controlled room, so you could like look at the box of your sneakers.
Look at the box of your sneakers
in this like climate controlled room. They ultimately ended up getting sued by Nike for putting their logos on the NFTs.
No way.
Without like consulting with them. So I don't know if the project's going to happen.
You dodged a bullet there then, Jake.
Bro, yeah. You got lucky there, bro.
Yeah. I was like, wow, how did you not think of that firsthand? But I could see where Nike's going to probably do this. Nike's pretty heavy into the NFT space. They filed an NFT patent back in like 2018, actually, about breeding shoes.
I mean, I thought certainly for the cards, the card grading company that already is grading the cards, it just makes sense for them to do it. Because look, if you send in your Pokemon card and they grade it for you, and then they just hold it for you, that would seem to be like just easy peasy, just makes sense. But there's probably a lot of third party risk there that these companies don't want to take on. So might be a while.
Yeah, you could be imagine just going from a grading company to like, you're now the largest sports card custodial
company. Oh my God,
company in the world.
They have good insurance.
Quite funny.
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, dude, the idea, it's so solid. It will happen. It's just a matter of who's going to be in the different industries, right? Sports cards, easy one. Well, easy in that it makes complete sense. Like, who the hell wants to hold their car? I mean, some people do, like they want to have them on display or something. But I mean, just to unlock that liquidity, so many people would just send them all into the grading company and then just keep them there, and then just trade the assets on a marketplace. Oh,
especially if you're just trying to flip it immediately.
Totally, dude. It just makes complete sense. The liquidity would come into the market, then the loans, then all the other stuff, man. It's literally a no-brainer. It's just a matter of when.
When. But speaking of when, I don't think we've covered Emblem yet. We've had a pretty wild few weeks. To think about it, we had 3 product launches in back-to-back weeks. We had Cursed Ordinals, ETH-scriptions, 2 BRC20s, and now we have the migration, right? It's been a full week. I was on Randy's Ordinals wallet spaces the other day, and he was talking about how Ordinals wallet had taken a break the last month to watch everything. And I was like, man, I'm complete opposite. I feel like I've lived in my room the last month. But BRC20, interesting kind of launch, just to kind of reassess that. The trading's been halted on OpenSea for I guess regulatory reasons, as they still evaluate it. Still live on Blur. We are going to look to adding a bulk minting tool at some point after migration and the UI upgrade to really help assist that. So we are refining some of the once we have our UI upgrade, I think that'll also make things probably a lot more frictionless as possible. But we still, the amount of demand for this, I talked with, I think, 4 different BRC20 teams in the last 2 days alone about the interest. So it's still there. And they all come for different reasons as well. But it seems like, from my understanding, most of these BRC20 teams also have large ETH communities. And so they're trying to speak to them in some way. And some of them even have ETH collections. And so some are even discussing a curated collection and a BRC20 collection, where they're like, hey, we can take 3 of our ordinal collections and 1 of our ETH collections. Could we all just put this on the same contract and make it easier for all of our collectors to issue it? So kind of interesting update there. Migration is underway. We're still working through it. It's going to be a multi-week process, which I've said multiple times, but it seems like nobody really listens.
I don't know if you saw in our Discord, somebody said, so how long is the migration going to take? And I said, probably about 2 to 3 weeks. And then, like, literally right underneath it, he's like, yeah, but how long is it going to take?
They never listen.
2 to 3 weeks, bro. Jesus, man. Read, man. No, it's, hey.
We're who was it? I was talking with Brian, who's like a big rare Pepe guy. Brian Mycon, I think his last name is.
The gambler
player.
Yeah.
He was like, so are all of my 100 rare Pepes good to go in this wallet? And he gave me his wallet address. And I said, you have 2 options. You can do nothing, and you'll receive all of your upgraded Pepes in the rare Pepe collection for free. Or you can unvault them all, pay the fee, and then vault them all again and pay the fee. And he was like, I love when one of my strategy options is do nothing. I was like, that's such a poker player response. So, right, yeah. So, I mean, it seems like we saw a lot of Bitcoin punks get unvaulted. I think that was Ordinal Market's campaign to unvault them. It was funny, though, because I had 2 people message me privately asking about it. And I was like, yeah, you can not do anything and get in the curated collection. They were like, what? Why did no one tell me this? I was like, we did tell you this, but you're just getting persuaded by the other team, which is completely okay too, whatever. But I have a feeling we might see a handful of them kind of vault back afterwards. Yep. But really, the legacy contract's down about 200 owners from 11,600 to 11,400, or maybe a little bit below that. So huge display of trust. So rock on to you guys. Trust us. We're right now in the evaluation process and still deciding which goes where. We knew it would happen where once we started looking under the hood, once all the contracts were paused, which we really couldn't do until everything was paused. or delisted. We also had to give some padding of time there. I actually thought like there would be some more marketplaces that would give us issues from like communication standpoint, but all is pretty much well outside of Uniswap is still there and Coinbase and OKX. And so if you're listening to this, I highly, highly, highly recommend do not trade on these. Do not trade on these. You will get wrecked at some point in time. Once those are vaulted, because those vaults will be empty. So there's only so much we could do. I tried to get in contact with OKX and Coinbase many times. Did not work. Uniswap's an aggregator that has no listings, so they just aggregated. I asked them directly to delist the aggregator. They said no. So up to them then, right? Can't control all of them.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think when people are like, well, what's taking so long or why isn't stuff moved yet? It's like, you got to understand there's 50,000 items, which we have to classify for where they're going to go. And that's not an easy process. I mean, anybody who's done anything at scale with numbers like that, it's extremely challenging, especially when we just can't make mistakes, right? So it's going to be a bit.
Yeah, but once we're on the other side, man, it'll be smooth sailing. That's when the fun starts. When you get that, once you get that done and the UI upgrade, I think we'll be in a very, very good
ready
position.
for bull run, man. Bull run incoming, man.
The best time to do it right now, right? As probably some attention is coming back to the space. We discussed this before that there's no way you could do this migration during a bull market. There's it's no way it could happen at all.
Yep.
So
yeah,
exciting.
The timing worked perfectly, honestly, for us, and we've been so fortunate this year to have all this new activity, ordinals, e-scriptions, everything, all the kind of craziness has prepared us for to do this sort of huge lift, which would have been, it would have been impossible at the start of the year. We wouldn't have had the experience to do all this sort of stuff, and so very thankful that it all worked out this way.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So stay tuned for that. The Emblem Twitter account is going to be posting individual tweets for all the new and upcoming curated collections. So that's going to be quite exciting. And then last topic for today, I want to cover our Friendly Frog community. Season 15 of Fake Rares is beginning pretty soon. Of course, very rare, fake rare fashion. They didn't record the spaces talking about everything.
Dude, always, bro. Never record anything.
Guys, you tweet about it, and then I can't even read. I can't even listen to what they were discussing. But there's kind of this new meta that's been happening. I'm gonna try to find the Twitter account. I think Rare Skrilla and a few of these guys are behind this orange. I think it's called the something collection. I forget what it is, but it's this orange wave of fake rare. So I think you're gonna see a lot of these type of orange stuff. I'm trying to find that Twitter account. But Rare Skrilla and them and the fake rare team, they also started an Ordinals Pepe project as well. So I think there's gonna be some meshing there. But season 15, man, this has been going on now for over 2 years. When it'll end, I have no idea. I know there's still multiple hundreds of the fake ASF cards, which you have to burn to get into the fake rare directory. I don't know, man. Adam, you own any of these fake rares? You're about one?
I'm out of the fake rare business. There's too much, dude. There's too many to try and remember and do all this sort of stuff. And it's too much, man. I can't do everything.
Go ahead, Dogfather.
Yeah, hi guys. Sorry for being late. I had something going on. Ballet performance by the daughter, first one. I had to go there. I think it's a good excuse. So I mean, the fake rares are kind of legends. I mean, they were really open, and invited people like Cherniak and others like these superstars into Counterparty. I mean, really a big shout out to them. I listened into their performance on the Ordinals show when they were really trying to talk Leonidas and Bitgod into making one, and they were really
Shoot, I missed that one, man. I didn't hear that. That's good.
That was awesome. And then I pinged Bitgod come on, I can help you. And he was like, yeah, of course. And then, never heard back. So if you hear that, I was kind of securing a few cool token on Counterparty. So I think we will have some really fun ones in that series, and really like also reaching to other communities, to the Ordinals. So pretty cool idea. I mean, Skrilla is doing an amazing job, and you should grab some fake rares. I mean, they're really cool ones. They're now relatively affordable, and yeah, I think it's a very cool project.
Yeah, this will also be very good timing for once we roll out the fake rares curated collection, which will come out again in a few weeks. You have a lot of these popular artists. Like, look, you have Vincent Van Gogh, Mike 3, Bats. They're all right next to each other. To get these on Ethereum, which a lot of these cards are created by Ethereum NFT artists, I think will bring a lot more attention to it. Right here's Bunzy's card from that, the mullet, Pepe Nardo. Like, you get a lot of these like very top, like popular ones. I think it was season 8 or series 8. I think was like the legendary one. Season 8 or season 9. I'm gonna try to find which one it was. That had like all of the big, like super big artists. I think it was season 9. So you see Joe Looney's card too. But it's gonna be exciting, man. Pepe community never quits. They're always doing something different. There's always a Pepe bull market somewhere. It just depends which one it is. Here's the Joe Peace card. This one was consistently selling on the Legacy collection, like consistently in the floors 2E. I know you have like Grant Yun's got some, Coldy's got some. I think Art Gnome's got one.
Yep.
They're all in it. They're all riding. Oh, Jake Fried, he's good artist as well. But good times, man. I just wanted to bring that up, give a shout out to our friendly Pepe community, because I have a few fake rares. I need to get some more. I guess I just need more money.
Reminds me of that movie. It's like this guy's got a terrible gambling problem, and they're like trying to convince him to go to rehab or whatever, and he's like, I don't have a gambling problem. I have a cash flow problem.
It's true, man. Well,
yeah.
Thank God, get that OXVT going. So I'll have some money to buy some fake rares. But yeah, we're at an hour and a half. I appreciate everyone for hanging around. Adam, any final words before we close off in the week?
Well, I guess we're gonna see what's happening tomorrow, man. Right? Saturday's the BitGod's gonna announce this. I may pick up a little. Not financial advice, of course, just because I would like to get one of whatever he's dropping. Hell, you know what I'll do? I'll probably get it, and then it's like, no, OXBT's got nothing to do with the Ordinal drop, but so that's interesting. Something to watch this weekend to see how that goes. I wish him luck, man. I hate to see guys get wrecked who seem like decent people, and he seems like a good dude.
Yeah, he's committed, man. Dogfather, any final words?
No, I mean, just enjoy the weekend. There will be another week, another craziness. And I'm cooking something. Hopefully it's getting out soon. So that's why I was a bit quiet the last 2 weeks. So fully non-commercial, so nothing to ape in. But hopefully it's interesting for the long run.
Nice.
Sounds like it might be something up the Doge alley. All right, Ethord, final person before I close this up. I'll end with you.
Stay cool, everyone. It's time to get hot outside.
That it is. Sunday in Vegas, it's going to be 118 degrees.
Oh, my God, dude.
118. All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.